Boys are hot and ready. It's hot and ready tonight, out of the oven. Your boy DRS, Tom Vecchio, Joe Lacey. He's back in the fold. Why? Because the Jets, Jets are playing tonight, boys. Welcome to the show. Let's have some fun. Let's get after tonight. The Jets and the Patriots, Tom Vecchio.
Yeah, not the highest total that we've ever seen. Larger spread. I know you have some contrarian takes you want to get to tonight. I'm not expecting the most for tonight. I think a lot of people are going to be on the same page where it's probably not going to be the most exciting game. We have a quarterback with Justin Fields. His passing prop is 134. I don't know what we're going to get from the Jets offense. If you told me the Jets offense scored more than 17 points tonight, I would be shocked.
Ooh, come on, Lacey. Get in here, man. Jets are playing. The Alts are here. You can make a fortune tonight. And I don't even mean on cow shit. You can make
Well, I didn't alt anything tonight. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. Alt it like I typically do. But I like the Jets tonight. Again, short week. I know how good the Patriots are playing, but I'm going to take the team that's an underdog divisional matchup, 13.5, 12 points. That's doable for me. I did key on the Jet wide receivers tonight. A.D. Mitchell and Arian Smith. A.D. Mitchell coming over, new landscape from Indy. And Arian Smith, the speedster out of Georgia. They both played at Georgia. And so 20 plus, Donnie, both at plus money tonight. I mean, I did take A.D. Mitchell, too, as my touchdown jackpot at 9-1.
Yeah, we're going to get there at this point right now and see what actually happens at this point. But I want to start here with Jets versus Patriots, 10.5 opening line, Tom, 12.5 here. There were 13s early on. How are we feeling about the side? We'll start there with New England and New York tonight.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of reason to back the Jets, especially now that you're getting a much larger number. And again, a short week, especially the fact that it's a divisional opponent, I think is huge. A lot of people will buy into short week, divisional opponent. I will take nearly 2 field goals with the Jets. That you can get it at 12.5 now. I think that is totally reasonable. I don't have a play on the side. I'm on the under. That's where I'm looking at things going. If you told me the Jets lose this game 24-10 or 27-10, I'm not going to be shocked. The Jets offense last week was terrible. Stop looking at the score. They scored 2 special teams touchdowns. And special team scores are highly variable. And when we have a quarterback, Justin Fields, who threw for, 64 yards last week? Terrible. If you tell me they do not move the ball tonight, I'm not going to be surprised. I can't back the Jets in any capacity. I don't have a play on the side, but I have a play on the under.
I'm interested to see how this game does play out because I don't think the Jets are as bad as what some of the numbers think, but you still do have to have some weapons to score points in this league. It is a short work week, but Joe, I find myself like the one thing I don't know if I want to take the Jets. I didn't bet a side in this game, but I know one thing. I don't want to lay 12.5, 13 points on a Thursday night. I don't want to do it.
No, I mean, that's the problem, right? They coming off a tough road win over Tampa, right? That was a gutty win. They were underdogs in that matchup. They found a way to win. Travion Henderson stepped up. Drake Maye with a performance, and their defense played lights out and really contained Baker Mayfield for much of that game. So what are you going to get? Are they going to – I don't want to say they're coming out flat. They're coming out with the ice uniforms tonight. It's going to be a jam-packed house. It's a divisional opponent. Yeah. So the W is staring them right in the face. The question is which team do you buy more into on a short week? And we're getting almost 2 touchdowns with a team that's won 2 straight. And I understand it was an ugly win against Cleveland. Styles make fights, but they could have laid up after they fell behind and they didn't. And so I'll carry that momentum somehow, some way. I will say this. I don't think the Jets are going to be able to run it conventional with Breece Hall. It's got to be Justin Fields in the RPO game. They have to find something else, and that's why I lean to the passing attack of the Jets, but I'm not buying in like throwing the kitchen sink at it right here, right now.
Now, Justin Fields was listed around in the mid-120s earlier today. Bet up at some outlets here. I'm just looking at FanDuel at 134.5. Let me ask you both this question, Tom, and I'll start with you here. I look at that, like if you're reading lines, that's an underline for Justin Fields. They're begging you to take 134. That's ridiculous. Let me just bet the over. But the angle like I want to play tonight with Justin Fields is, Tom, Do we see Justin Fields in the second half? Like, are we baking in a line that he's not even going to finish this game because he's going to be so bad?
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up at some point where the Jets just named their starting quarterback. I don't know when it was 30 minutes ago or something. Fields was terrible. There's been quarterback questions for weeks at this point. There's a legitimate scenario that the Jets are held to 0 points at halftime, and Tyrod Taylor starts the second half for the Jets. That's a very reasonable expectation. So taking unders on Fields, I think, is a logical way to go about things. If someone says, I don't want to take an under on 134.5, I'm just going to completely stay away, I totally understand that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a jarring low number. Like, we're gonna have Young this weekend, the quarterback for the Panthers. He's like a 162, 163, which is ridiculous. But Fields continues to set that bar being so low, Joe. How do you play that Jets offense? Because I got a couple prop bets we're going to go over in just a few moments. I didn't take a bet on Justin Fields. I think that's an under because the chance he gets benched tonight. But it is also the pros, Joe. There is a chance that he's, 9 of 13 for 88 yards at the half. I mean, that's not unbelievable numbers, and he'd be well on his way.
Well, yeah, so I didn't back Fields passing props,
Yeah,
but that's why I backed the receivers, right? So if you're going to back the receivers, even if they're trailing the game, they're going to throw, right? So I think that's the best way to go. I did take Fields a shot. He's got a great value for anytime touchdown at plus 330. Again, if they're in the red zone, I don't think it's Breece Hall up the middle. I think it's Justin Fields on the edge. So I lean to his rushing prop over his passing, but that doesn't mean those guys can't get their number tonight.
Look in there, Tom, right? You have a half of a touchdown pass for Fields is minus 118. I know we're focusing on Fields over May right now, but rightfully so. Like, we don't see these numbers here. That's like a kid for like Army, running the, veer offense. Like, oh, can he throw one for minus 118? These are shockingly ridiculous numbers, which again plays into they're so low. It's almost like the books know something we don't, where it's like, dude, he has such a quick hook tonight. If they go 3 and out their first 2 drives, he's done for the night.
That's certainly a case.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's half touchdown, it's only minus 118. Again, I think they're never going to put plus money on it. They just don't want it to be a risk. But I see circumstances that he falls under everything tonight. I do have plays on a Jets, or I have a play on a Jets receiver that I like tonight, just because I think they'll pass the ball when they have to, game script wise. But backing Fields is super tough. What I would say is, if you were interested in Fields, I wouldn't bet the 134 number. I'd rather just go up to, like, I know this is crazy, but 150 is plus 124. I'd rather take a shot on plus money and think that he gets there, but I'm not doing that. Like, me personally, I think if he goes over, it's not going to be by the skin of his teeth. He'll get to 155. Drake
Maye props tonight here, Joe. I'll start with you first here. He's 232.5, and his touchdown price to throw to is over 1.5 minus 164. I'd get a free play on the site today, Joe. I went over 5.5 rushing attempts for Drake Maye, which was bet 365 earlier, to minus 115 price, which means 6 rushes he gets this. The reason I like this a lot is if you look at his rushing statistics over the past couple of games, forget about the yards. He's well over 5. Like, that's his routine. But you say, well, maybe he doesn't run enough tonight. Also, maybe baked into that, you get 2 kneel downs at the end of the game, and you only need 4 total rushes here. So I started off and said, you know what? I'm going to pass on Maye 232. I think he can get there. I think he can throw 2 touchdowns. But I just like his rushing prop. His rushing attempts, Tom, better than any of it.
Yeah, I would say the rushing attempts for Maye is fine. I would not go to the yards. The yards can be tricky, like you said, with the kneel downs at the end. But, Maye is sneaky good and consistent when it comes to running the ball. The question I would have is, how much pressure is he going to be under, and how many times late in the game is going to be dropping back?
Yeah, Donnie, I would just say, look at the primetime matchup. As ugly as that game was, both Hurts and Love ran, right? They took the game into their own hands. And again, when you have Drake Maye at home, if the game is close or somewhat competitive, he's going to try and take it over. We got Travion Henderson taking over the duty tonight. He's going to get a bulk of the carries with Jennings backing him up. But I still like Maye attempts. It's not a bad look.
How about the rushing yards tonight for these guys? Breece Hall, 58.5. Travion Henderson, 70.5. Drake Maye, 25.5. Justin Fields, 33.5. And Terrell Jennings, 16.5. I know, Tom, I'll start with you on this one. Everybody loved what they saw last week out of Travion Henderson. Like, he's just going to continue that right off the bat. I almost feel like it's a fade to take him under in this game. But are there any running back props, even the 2 big guys, right, Hall and Henderson, that have your attention?
I have not from a rushing perspective, but I have a Henderson prop in the receiving category, which we'll get to next. But the Henderson's great, and he should have been seeing the ball more. I think Henderson, his number is super accurate, 70.5, and I don't want to bet because I just think it's super refined, and I don't want to be betting into premium players that their numbers really are so heavily bet by the public that I just don't want to go there. The one look that I will note is that no running back has gone over 50 yards versus the Pats defense. They are fantastic when you're looking at simply yards per game, EPA per rush allowed, whatever it is. So taking unders on Hall, I was on him last week, didn't come through, but unders on Hall I think is a reasonable way to go about things.
How about you, Joe, looking at Justin Fields, 33.5, staring you right in the face?
It is 40. I altered them to 40 on the ground just because, again, I don't think they're going to be able to run. Tampa Bay couldn't run consistently last week, and they're a much better rush team, I think, than the Jets. So, again, we'll see how this plays out, but it has to be Fields at least opening it up on the ground to open up everything else. If he's mobile in this game, then all of a sudden New England's got to worry about his legs, and then that could work off of play action for this passing game. If Fields is going to be in there, you have to utilize his versatility in this game. They didn't do it enough against Cleveland. Again, game script with the specials sort of took that over, but they have to do it on the road tonight.
By the way, like it's an interesting thought process too, because I'm just looking at some of like the Jets beat writer stuff. Like, obviously, the Jets are out there warming up, and Zach Rosenblatt, Justin Fields warming up with the start as a quarterback in warmups. Maybe that's part of the mind game, he says. Brian Costello, Justin Fields with the starting offense in warmups in case you're wondering about the quarterback change. So much volatility with the Jets tonight, which makes it a real interesting move. But if we do switch it over, Tom, to the receiving props tonight, like somebody has to catch passes. If I liked one wide receiver, look, it is Stefon Diggs, but I didn't bet on him. Mason Taylor's 31.5. Breece Hall's a tailback at 14.5. And then just going down the list, Tyler Johnson and, Arian Smith, 9.5. A.D. Mitchell, 16.5. Isaiah Davis, 14.5. The numbers are so low, it's criminal. Where, it's kind of funny. The second half, they're down 2 touchdowns. Somebody's got to, they're not running the clock out, the Jets.
Right. I like Mason Taylor. I like him over 31.5. That's where I'm at with him. Looking back to last week, we can't look at that game and really draw anything from it, given just the low volume of yards and pass attempts that Justin Fields has. But if we look back at sample sizes for Taylor when Garrett Wilson did not play, we're seeing really good usage for Taylor. We also see the pass. They've allowed the 6th most receiving yards to opposing tight ends. So they're great against the run, but there's some susceptibility. And again, if Fields doesn't finish the game and Tyrod Taylor comes in the second half, I believe that they'll look to Mason Taylor, that is, for receiving. And 31.5 is the number he's gotten to a number of times this year. That's the route that I want to go for the Jets. That's really my favorite Jets play.
Joe, have a little Pop Douglas tonight. Come on, can you buy in 25.5?
I can't look Patriots. I can't. I'm only looking Jets. It's too much big. It's too big a value. I love it. I'm on A.D. Mitchell and I'm on Arian Smith. Arian Smith could be the home run hitter. He's struggled with drops at Georgia, but he's a 4.3 guy, 4.4. He could take the top off. I took him. He's 8-1 for 40+ receiving yards. He has that ability to get open. Now, if he could be like Stonehands, but I'm going to take that shot. I took Mason Taylor, pedestrian, 15 yards, and I took A.D. Mitchell at 15. I threw them all in a parlay, and hopefully we come out with a winner. But my 2 touchdown scorers are Arian Smith at 9-1 and A.D. Mitchell at plus 850. You're not going to get better value out of a 2 and a 3.
Dang. Amazing stuff. Touchdown scores. People are asking in the chat box here. We might as well get to them. Travion Henderson, leader at FanDuel, minus 135. Everybody else is plus money. Stefon Diggs, plus 140. Hunter Henry, plus 155. And obviously the first 3 guys that we mentioned are New England Patriots. Then Breece Hall to plus 165. Then it's lottery tickets, Tom, across the board for the Jets.
Yeah, so Chops is asking what who am I on? And for anytime touchdown, Mac Hollins is my TD jackpot pick for today for the FanDuel promo. So that's where I'm at. He stepped up and played a big role last week. And, he's seeing some good usage in the offense. We got to remember that Kayshon Boutte is not playing. He hasn't played in a couple weeks at this point, and Mac Hollins is stepping up. I think Hunter Henry is again, it's a viable option. I don't like the number on Hunter Henry. 155 is crazy low for him.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry should be like 185, 190, just given where he sits in the offense and given the total of this game. Henderson, Diggs, and then really one of the other receivers should be there. I just don't like Hunter Henry's number, but I do believe he is a good TD jackpot play, but specifically I'm on Mac Hollins.
Mac Hollins, at least a plus 230 price out here. See if who gets in first. Jay Louise says, yo, Mr. Don, fire that props. Do you like Breece Hall over 58.5 rushing yards? Well, the one thing I do like about Breece Hall is he's going to get the opportunities, right? So you say to yourself, what's his max carries? I don't know. He's probably going to get 14, 15 carries. He should be able to get 58.5 yards. I didn't look that route, but I don't mind that. The only downfall is if they're just really bad on offense and the box is loaded and they're passing in the second half and he just isn't able to get up to that task. But for me, I took a couple contrarian looks on some prop bets in this game. Joe, you like this one? The Jets to score over 1.5 team touchdowns tonight at a plus 120 price. And also, how about this? Both teams to score 15 plus points is actually at a plus 135 for tonight. How about that?
I don't mind it. Again, I know it could be 17-3, 17-zip. I get that. But again, it's a divisional matchup. And if somehow, some way the Jets score first, it could open up everything, right? You get more aggressive if you're the Patriots. And again, all it takes is a defensive stop, a turnover, a short field, and you're playing with house money. So, again, I don't mind the bet of the Jets over 1.5 touchdowns from an offensive perspective. Again, even if they're down 30-0 or 30-7 in the second half, you have a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one question I want to get to that Matt asked,
Go ahead.
He's always in here, is asking about AD Mitchell longs reception. I'm seeing it 12.5 on FanDuel. So if you got this 9.5 number for AD Mitchell over longest reception, that's really the role he should be playing. And Frank, I'm not going to say like they brought AD Mitchell in for a reason. Like he was part of the Sauce Gardner trade, so they added him. But they really don't have other established receivers. So if there's any time for AD Mitchell to start going over his props, it's when the offense is in disarray and he can try and establish himself for the rest of the season and going into next year, that they have a deep ball option. So I don't mind playing AD Mitchell. And again, Joe, you said you're on him, but if AD Mitchell goes over his 12.5, he's probably getting to 25.
You could get to 50. They fell in love with him. They trade, to trade for him, and you got to utilize him. I mean, if your whole look is for 2026, why not see what these guys could do with an average quarterback in Justin Fields? And then if you have receivers to pair with Garrett Wilson, and then you can make the moves accordingly. I think the game script today, even though the Jets win, they have to utilize the pass to some capacity. Put it up there, whether it be Tyrod Taylor or Justin Fields. Get it up there close to 30 times and see if you can pull this game out. But we'll see. I'm on the Jets, but I only keep Jet prop players, A.D. Mitchell, Arian Smith, and I did take Fields for the anytime touchdown tonight, guys. I got to hop.
Lisi,
always a pleasure. I love
you.
you.
There you go.
All right, be good.
Thursday night with Lisi. All right, so Lisi's out of here at this point, Tom, so we'll fine-tune some of these questionable moves tonight. The one thing I do want to take a look at, though, is I'm interested because the good part about it is gambling. You can watch the game play out and you can still bet live. I'm waiting for, again, like I almost want the game script, Tom, 14-3, halftime, you go in with the New England lead. No word yet on what's going on. And you almost jump the second half figuring that Fields probably won't be the starter in the second half because I'm very intrigued. I'm not saying Tyrod Taylor is Joe Montana either. But if you're talking about, Tom, a second half where you're down 2 touchdowns and Tyrod Taylor comes in and you have to basically get 8 with this guy, 9 with this guy, 13 with this guy, sky could be the limit. And I think you're right on point by saying, why would you take like a 9.5 when you get like 15.5 or 20 and have really good plus numbers on some of these guys?
Yeah, and how you evaluate the game in halftime is it would remind me of the situation that we talk about with the Chargers when it's Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, and Keenan Allen. It's like, I don't know who's going to go over. I don't know whose week it is. But if you, like, again, I've talked about this a ton before. If you bet all 3 of those receivers and 2 of them go over, you come out net positive,
Correct.
right? So it's like, I like Mason Taylor tonight, but if Mason Taylor's doing nothing and halftime rolls around and it's AD Mitchell and it's Smith, then I could maybe still play Mason Taylor live and then throw in AD Mitchell and Smith. And then as long as 2 of the 3 come through, I'm net positive. So if they do change quarterbacks, and we may get a very clear indication of that, if Fields does nothing in the first quarter and halfway through the second, it's like, I just have a feeling I'm going to buy low on all of these receivers. And I don't care who goes over. Just get me through the number and we'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad opportunity thing because even though we watched that game play out, Tom, Monday Night Football, wasn't a lot of scoring. But you know what I love to do? Give me Devonta Smith, give me A.J. Brown, really ridiculous numbers. Let me hit one, and look, boom, there it was. Devonta Smith comes in at a really high number. That's the way you can cash in. So I do always appreciate when you're looking at options going, well, just take 2 of them that plus most money. You get one of them, you have money, and you get both of them, which is legitimate. Then you can have yourself a really, really good night at that point. But I have a feeling tonight, Tom, this game either goes as planned, like, okay, 27-13 final. New England gets the win in the cover, and we didn't see that much out of the Jets. But something also has me saying, like, wow, man, Jets are hanging around the third quarter with a legitimate chance to win this game. Like, I want that feeling tonight because you can get some lottery tickets on ridiculous. Wait, AD Mitchell has 15 yards receiving on the first drive. That's not insane, you know?
No, it's certainly not. And again, if you were to play AD Mitchell and – again, Smith, Tyler Johnson, Mason. I would probably shy away from Tyler Johnson, if I'm being honest. I would choose Taylor, Smith, and Mitchell as the options. And again, Isaiah Davis' number just got locked. So that's interesting, at least on FanDuel.
Changing it up.
Just him, no one else.
Yeah.
But again, if those players go over, they're probably going over by more than just 3-4 yards. Again, AD Mitchell going 20+, Smith going 20+, Taylor going 20+. That's not out of the question.
All right, let's get to some of these team props, which on Bet365, they had made a heart attack. I actually had to contact them yesterday saying, why did you take these away? And they sent it back like, I don't know if they're available at this time. Well, the customer service guys have no idea what they're talking about. Even they say, like, I'm going to check with the risk room guys. They moved it over to rushing and passing props and included them in there. So if you're looking tonight for the Jets on the ground, over or under for their team, Tom, is 130.5. Rushing attempts.
Rushing yards?
Rushing yards. 29.5. is the attempts, and they get a rushing touchdown, it's a half at -210. Any thoughts on the Jets' total running game tonight?
Under and 100. If no running back has gotten to 50 yards against the Pats this season, how are you expecting the team to get to 130? So you're going to need 40 yards out of Breece Hall, and you're going to need 60 at a minimum from Fields, and then someone else chipping in to do that. I mean, that's 130 is crazy.
So you're looking at 30 attempts times what? 4.5 or so yards, give or take. It comes out to 135. But also 30 attempts, Tom. If they're down double digits, they're not getting 30 attempts on the ground. It's an interesting.
I'm just looking back at some
attempts is like for a team that you think is going to win and runs the ball. Crazy.
Last week, as a team, the Bucs rushed for 113. Atlanta was at 71. Cleveland was at 68. Tennessee's terrible. Tennessee was at 39 for a team. Like even the Bucs, Rashad White and Sean Tucker last week, as a team, they got to 113.
Yeah.
What did Buffalo get against them? 118. Buffalo with Josh Allen and James Cook got to 118. The Jets, you think they're going to get to 130?
Yeah.
That is a crazy line.
Usually the 130 numbers, Tom, are for the winning team because the expectation is
what are the Pats at?
Running it out. Pats are, let me see what we got here. Let's go to rushing. The Patriots are 140.5, which I think
that's nothing difference. That implies that this game's like a 3.5 point
and
spread.
The same rushing prop of 29.5. Yep. Not that.
It's a terrible line.
Let's go over to some of these. Let's go to, was it passing? We got rushing, team passing. Passing in this game, Tom, total passing yards combined 393.5. You're not going to get much lower because of how low the stats are today. So 2 quarterbacks basically combining for around 200 yards cashes that easily. Passing touchdowns, not extremely low. 2.5 at -125. Usually the 2.5 time are -175 or higher on the bad games. So that's a low price. Passing completions tonight, 36.5. Seems high as hell if Justin Fields is going to play this one out.
36.5 combined?
Yeah.
Drake Maye's, I think his completion prop is 19.5, if I remember correctly.
Like, we're expecting big things out of Justin. I'm telling you, I need Justin Fields to shock tonight. I need him shocked tonight.
I mean, you would have to bank on Justin Fields playing the whole game. I mean, maybe it's better if Taylor comes in. But 19.5 for Drake Maye. If you have to have 20, you're looking at 16 from Fields or 17 from Fields. I don't like that.
Insane. Like even some of these numbers are so high. Like the 1-1 tonight, 1 touchdown rushing, 1 touchdown passing for each team is plus 330 tonight. Usually you see that around like a plus 130, plus 145 level. So that's extremely high. Last week, Tom, 5 yards per quarter did cash. Or not last week, on Monday night.
Yeah.
Saquon. But I'll tell you the one that really pissed me off, which cost me, because I didn't bet a lot on those props there, but that was a plus 280, which was nice. Tank Bigsby, over 7.5 yards. Dude had 2 for 11, gets 1 handoff, and gets knocked back to 3 for 7. Oh, my God.
I was looking at that because I spoke to Kev on GTD before, and the number actually jumped up to 9.5 when we were on the show. And I was like, man, 9.5's not that bad. Then it was back down to 7.5. I was like, if you play the 7.5, and he had like a 5-yard carry or whatever.
Yes.
Right off the rip.
It was like 5 and 7 on the 2 back. I forget it was 11 or 12 yards, but he finished with 7 yards because that one, like, hey, give me a handoff, and it was a jailbreak in the backfield. Really pissed me off at that point. Any other prop bets you're interested in tonight, Tom, in this game?
Travion Henderson, we didn't talk about him in the receiving game, under 17.5 receiving yards. I just don't like game script wise and matchup wise, I don't think he's going to need to do that. You actually look at the Jets; they've allowed the 3rd lowest receiving yards to opposing running backs this season. Not a surprise because they're often playing from behind. Opposing teams don't have to throw the ball to their running backs. Well, we also look at Henderson. He did nothing last week. He had a big receiving game, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. But looking back at his sample size, I saw on Twitter, saw some people talking about Henderson is receiving. Looking back at the games that he played earlier this season when he was getting to 14, 19, 20 yards, whatever it might be, those games are irrelevant. When we're looking at a sample size, when he wasn't the starter, when Ramondre Stevenson was healthy, when Antonio Gibson was healthy, that sample size is irrelevant. I don't think Henderson will have to play a role in the passing game because they're going to be up by 10, and they're just not going to throw the ball.
Should be fun to watch it play out tonight. Again, little options just like I had on Monday. I don't love the game enough, but I'm very interested in watching this thing play out. I'm going to take the Jets over 2 touchdowns tonight, which as a team, doesn't matter. They can run it. They can get special teams. They can get defense. That's at a plus 120 price. Both teams to score 15-plus points tonight, plus 130. And then I did take probably my favorite bet of the night if I had one to say, Donnie, give me one prop bet. Drake Maye over 5.5 rushing attempts. I think it's a great bet tonight. So that's where I'm going tonight, Tom. Let the people know where you're going tonight.
I like Mason Taylor over 31.5 receiving yards, the tight end for the Jets. I think he steps up. Looking at last week doesn't matter. And then Henderson under 17.5 receiving yards. I'm also on the under in this game. And I'm Mac Hollins for the TD jackpot.
Mackie TDs. Yeah, somebody's got to score. It's a mid-40s, not a 21.5 total in this game. So we'll find out. Maybe if Justin Fields gets benched, you can get some steals on some of those wide receivers here. Now, Tom and I will be back on Sunday. An awesome card. And by the way, when we're doing that show, just like the past week here, it's going to be a live football game on our TV, so we'll have some fun with that. So make sure you join us on Sunday. But everybody out there, enjoy your prop bets here, cash in some tickets, and we'll see you later.